That appears to be working.
We're live.
Oh my gosh.
On the whole internet.
Hell yeah.
Whoa.
Is that happening?
Hello, is it working?
Really happening?
We should supposedly be live on YouTube and Twitch.
Crazy.
Quite possibly.
It's a new day. It's a new dawn. It's a new day. It's a new life for me.
We've never done it before, so I've no idea how it's actually working. It says we are. Our title on YouTube is multitasking with our restream.
Okay, well, you know.
That could be better.
Our title on Twitch says live with restream. I maybe should have changed something somewhere. Update titles.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Documentary director.
It's so funny to be doing this live.
Commentary.
Hello everyone, how are you?
This is us doing
Yes.
it live.
Saving. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're streaming live on the internet.
We're
Live
on
and
the internet.
direct.
Let us know if where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Let us know if you can actually hear
These are all Twitch. Everyone's on Twitch.
Fair play.
You're gonna cry on the stream.
Oh, there's someone on YouTube. Hello, Tamara.
If I bring a Choose a Song sign to the Seaside Tour, will you do it? If we can see it, then maybe.
Maybe. If we bring a Choose a Song sign to the Seaside Tour, you do it. That's the real
I'm
question.
gonna bring a Choose a Song
right.
sign. It's gonna have TikTok by Kesha under every
That's
single
so
one.
Hello, thank you for joining in. If we reach our sub-goal today, Ian and George will do a little dance.
And Nick is going to do 5 cartwheels.
Yeah, so many.
4 originally.
Yeah,
It's
I know,
going up
it's
one.
going
It's
up.
interesting.
It's a lot of love for the fact that we're
crazy.
streaming on YouTube.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's amazing what you can do with
First time
technology these days.
technology does things. If you're here, please watch on both.
At the same time.
Both
Simultaneously.
This is a time for you to test your
One
internet.
eye.
Hopefully they'll be slightly out of sync and creating fun.
Crazy.
I can't see what is happening. It really confuses me.
Okay.
I'm loving it.
So we're here. What are we here to do, guys?
Oh, we're gonna
We're
watch.
here to do a documentary.
We're here to do a documentary.
Yeah.
Directors.
We're gonna cut some directors.
We were
We've
testing.
got Spielberg outside and we've got scalpels.
We were testing this earlier, and it turns out we can't play the documentary out loud, and you guys hear it and it not sound terrible.
Yeah.
So we're all using headphones. We realized this about 2 minutes ago. So I have this pair of headphones, whereby I have to hold onto my ears like
Very old school.
I'm a Teletubby.
Yeah.
Nick's got these guys got in ears. It's connected via
Many adapters.
many yeah. Okay. Should we do
So
it?
this works.
Someone has said, is this also live on Twitch? Oh yeah, we're live
It's
on
live
Twitch.
everywhere except
and
for
YouTube.
most places, and also
It's live
this
in
is
2
pre-recorded.
places.
Should we do it?
Trying something out.
I'm
Let's
gonna
do
try
it.
one in.
Let's try it.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go.
Let's watch
If
the
there's any
documentary.
problems, keep it to yourself.
I'm gonna
please.
hit play.
Actually, don't please. Oh my god, that
Best
was
joke
fine.
ever.
There we go.
Take one more.
Now, can we pause it very quickly? That is the best joke ever
Yeah.
that George just made.
The
Can
first
we rewind and
only
listen to that
joke in
again?
a documentary, mid-song reload.
No, I can't. Yeah, I can.
Take
Take
one.
one.
Take one.
Take
more.
on where?
One more time.
Take
I
it.
didn't
One
quite
more-
get it.
One more time. Let's get that one more time.
Take one.
Take one.
Take
Take
one.
on where?
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Very good,
Okay, end
very
the
good.
stream. That's us
That
done.
hourglass was just standing still while the world is moving on.
Where's the Trees present?
Yeah. This is so us.
Suddenly we were being
That's me.
held back by someone who
We were there.
That's actually
Clearly
not
didn't
you.
do
That
That's
was
me.
Why
really
did they have
weird
to?
of you to.
I thought I couldn't write music anymore.
Ian
You
thought
were bloody
they-
wrong.
Ian thought they couldn't write
Bloody
music
wrong.
anymore. We jumped to the
Oh,
water
that
there.
That was in the Danube.
This funny little project that we've always done. What if it doesn't work?
That was a lovely depressing start.
What if it
wasn't
doesn't work?
Yeah,
What
what
does
does
it
it
work?
work?
Who's just said that's Queen meat? I
I
forgot about Queen meat.
The
That was
sauce.
funny.
Is there any way you can turn on
Subtitles.
subtitles? Sound the video is a bit quiet.
I can turn up the
we can
video.
I think, yeah. Hopefully this
Done.
helps.
Hopefully this helps, but we don't have
We
subtitles.
don't have subtitles because
But-
we're streaming it straight
but-
from the original file.
Thank you for letting us know.
Yeah.
If there's any further problems, please tour
Okay.
Exeter
Literally 2 days earlier for my sanity.
If you think that we can do that, then you think
So
we have
let's
more
just
powers
miss
than
some
we do.
reload because people didn't hear George's joke.
Oh,
Yeah, if we could just quickly get George's joke.
Take one. Take one more.
is that now better sound?
good.
Because I'm going to skip forward a bit. I was just
Very good,
watch the
everyone.
same bit of documentary over and over again.
We're going to be making
Our
jokes today,
hourglass
but
was
it
just
is very
standing
sad.
still while the world is moving on.
At least you actually hear this time. That's perfect. Thank. Oh, you're welcome.
Hold on.
and suddenly we were being
Very
like
good.
deja
I
vu.
don't
It's like
know.
I've
by
seen this
someone
before.
who
I don't know
Clearly don't
very
believe in
much
the
about
products, and why
bears
did they
and
have to?
trees.
Really?
Oh, do you
That's
know?
what
I
I
thought I couldn't
Someone
write
could,
music
like,
anymore.
some kind of-
inform
I
me
thought I
in
couldn't
some
write lyrics.
way.
Some kind of catcher.
What if this
Yeah.
funny little project that we've always
So
done?
like a
what if
maybe
it doesn't
a
work?
quick
Wait,
video
who are bears in
to
trees?
describe who bears and trees even are. in a second.
How about now?
This is
Now.
us
No,
Now.
yet.
coming off stage in Dingwall.
Now here I'm hyping the crowd up to tell us to come back on, and George always told me off for doing that.
Yeah.
Now.
Oh, part 1.
On one.
There's gonna be 2.
In case you need to catch up, here's a history of bears and trees.
Ian and Callum met in primary school at the age of 5. Ian didn't want to be friends with Callum at first because Ian was scared that being friends with
Side note there, bloody
Yeah.
rude is what that is.
the
Yeah, it
new
was
kid
bloody
would
rude.
threaten their already weak social cred. The friendship was inevitable. Ian met Nick at high school at the age of 11 and quickly bonded over their love of Fall Out Boy, and Ian hatched a genius plan to get Callum into emo music. It took time but was eventually successful. Callum and Ian decided to form a band with another of their childhood friends but needed a guitarist. Nick lied about being able to play the guitar and was
True,
able to
it's all
join the
true.
band immediately. Their music was described as
Yeah,
not
none
as
of these
shit
photos
as I
are
thought
doctored.
it was going to be.
During college, last 2 years of high school for any non-British people,
Any non-British
Callum went to
people,
learn
yeah.
music tech and met George.
Let's pause it there.
George tried-
Let's just. I was to look at George's.
You also want to look at
George's
this picture?
face for a little bit in
Me
this.
and George took this
I just say fun.
during a fire drill
That's so good.
at college.
It was raining
It was raining.
and I was very upset.
And one of us provided an umbrella. I imagine you. You seem like more umbrella than I am.
didn't have an umbrella.
Who had the umbrella? Where did we get the umbrella from?
He misses George's fringe era. So I do.
I do.
That's-
I bet
that-
you're doing it better.
You both have solid fringes
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
That's quite impressive.
to convince
keep
Callum
going.
to kick the drummer out of his
I'm not
current
being good,
band
I'm
and
doing
have
George's
George in.
face.
The
Don't
drummer
worry
was
about
Ian. When their other childhood friend decided to quit the band in November 2014, George was finally in, and Bears and
Let's
Trees
pause it there.
began.
Let's pause it there. A childhood friend saw us live.
Yeah.
Years later. And what did he say? What did
Leaving
Oscar say?
the band was the best thing that he
Oh
ever did
yeah,
for us.
Oscar said the best thing he did for the band was leaving it, or
Yeah.
something like that. Him leaving the band was the best thing that he could have done.
Yeah. And here we are.
Here we are.
Together, the four of them created their first musical collection, Let's Sleep On It, in which they made up for a lack of talent with an overdose of angst.
True.
In 2015, they all spread to different parts of the
It's
country
true.
for university.
So
They
much of this is us
periodically
gonna
came
be going
together
into
to write
true.
and record little pieces
It's true.
reflecting
This
their
is
personal
true,
journeys
actually.
through life. Creating and releasing just 5 minutes, bits and pieces, Fly Out to Alaska, and Sitting Pretty, and writing Icy Blue in a sofa surfing fashion.
It's true actually.
In September
You
2019,
can't see
the
up
band
there.
had finally moved back to Croydon and decided to start committing more time to their music.
I'm
They played
proud
a
of that
show for the
animation.
release
That
of
was
Icy
great.
Blue.
It's true as
and was
well,
surprised
actually.
at even 50 people being in
people
attendance.
care.
The team
Wow.
wrote and recorded their next
That's
project, I
George.
Want to Feel Chaotic,
We wrote
and were
that.
excited for all
Yeah, we took
opportunities
that picture.
2020 would
Yeah.
bring. On January 1st, Bears in Trees released
Oh,
Ramblings
one.
of a Lunatic.
Yeah,
Then,
Ramblings.
the rest of 2020 happened.
Oh,
Bears
yeah,
in Trees
what
did
happened in
everything they
2020?
could to give
Disco
people the
Ball.
escape they crave.
Disco Ball,
Released
yeah.
a song a month, and the
Yeah,
world
they did.
responded.
They did.
Whilst locked in their homes, Bears and
true.
Trees got signed to Counterintuitive Records and
That's
amassed
true.
a following
They
they
did.
could only dream of in times past.
It's
In the
all
gaps
true.
of lockdown, they quickly wrote,
The oh, you can see it there. The T is upside down.
recorded, and released
That's-
TV
yeah.
Safe,
Is
and
it?
began writing and recording, and everybody else smiled back. Their debut tour got
I think
postponed and
I accidentally
postponed,
did
but
it
with every
upside down
postponement,
T.
the
I thought it was
size
Rogue.
grew across the country. And in summer 2021, they were playing their biggest shows ever,
That was us.
meeting hundreds of people
That's
across
us.
the country. More and more people were turning their heads to Bears and Trees. They released And Everybody Else Smiled
That's
Back,
us again.
their debut studio album, and booked a tour ending
We
in
actually
Electric
did that.
Ballroom Camden
Yeah.
with over 1,000 people attending.
Don't wanna brag.
The band the music industry had never
That's
heard
us.
of was breaking through.
This is so true.
This is
actually.
We were
Crazy.
breaking through. Can we quickly
Now
pause
what?
there?
Yep.
That's true, all that.
Is it?
That all
is it?
happened.
No.
Yeah, it happened over a period of
Alright,
time,
tell
about
me something that's
8
not
years.
true.
Platypus can fly.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, I'm seeing. What I'm enjoying about that was like people talking about just like when a song was referencing permanent supremacy, that sequence still goes hard.
It's all true.
Icy Blue supremacy, that kind of stuff.
So
I really
true.
appreciate how many people came on at various points and still have.
Love the old.
Let's do it. Oh, so
So,
true.
let's pause it. Sorry, this actually didn't happen. This is doctored.
No.
This is AI generated. This
What?
footage.
You weren't there, but we were all there in the crowd. This is a cold one.
When I came off stage at the Electric Ballroom, I was just so like hyper and just jumping around, couldn't contain myself.
George, how were you feeling when you
Can't
came
you
off
tell?
stage?
Can't you tell? I was really hyper.
Were you? Wow. Crazy.
And we all went up to the
sound
dressing room, and management and crew and everyone were there, and it was just such like it felt like a proper
project.
family.
It was kind of
We were
blur.
so
Felt to
scared.
me more like the start of the band. Band
Nick
with like
was
a
at
capital
Electric
B.
Ballroom.
A band people knew and a band
Nick
people
was, right.
could see in their future for a long time.
Band of Capital.
That was
Coming
a
off that
It
fantastic show.
was
It was
great.
good.
That
It
was
we were
good
there.
fun.
one of the best
done.
moments of my life. That show.
Yeah.
And
It
if you
was
were
there.
in
I was
that show, and if you saw yourself in the video,
Then good job.
Good job.
Good
Yeah.
job
Good
for being
job.
at the front.
So true.
100%.
stage, I was like, oh, this is it. This is us becoming
the biggest band in the world. I felt that.
And we are the biggest band in the world.
It's true.
Successful.
Success done.
All right, stream done.
I came off the
Carry
stage.
on.
I think it was actually Glasgow, and I literally looked at Nick and went, "Oh, I think this is it. This is the moment that they're going to."
Pause, pause. Ian didn't actually say that. Ian just made it up. Ian looked to me and said,
I heard that
As
actually.
I'm frequently.
I heard that Ian actually just turned to you and went poo poo pee pee.
It was pee 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 pee.
Guys, the blue language. Come on.
This is a really serious documentary that has touched on some serious stuff, and we're just
pee pee poo poo.
we have to lessen it.
Make documentaries about.
I think there was a feeling that we can kind of, we got this, like we can do it, you know. We can do it. We've proven a lot of people wrong by getting there and getting to that point.
We never grew up in a scene where we had mentors. Our peers were just also kind of just figuring it out. And so we were going.
You can't mention it. You can't mention it.
No.
Don't let people know.
And that really became apparent when we went to America.
This is on a beach in San Francisco.
The highs of touring were for sure going to America, having people sing your songs back in a different accent.
Denver?
It's like, I mean, that's crazy. It still feels crazy to hear. And that feeling never goes away.
That's
it still
Nick.
hasn't gone away when we've gone back to America.
Yeah.
That's
Where
still
was this?
Detroit.
What I'm most excited about when I get to play a show
Oh, of course,
and get to perform for people.
Can we just pause there? Can we talk about how the backing track music was Ramblings of a Lunatic, and then we seamlessly flow into the crowd singing Ramblings of a Lunatic?
How long did that take you?
It took me 6 years.
6 years.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
also it proves that we play in time, mostly live.
When we have a clip.
We're not.
Yeah.
We're basically not playing there.
And that's
The crowd is.
And that is, thank you, Eden is here. That's some editing work, exclamation mark. Thank you very much. Let's keep going.
When you're talking at the same time as the video, I cannot figure anything out.
It's
Well,
fair.
Okay, we'll be more considerate.
Yeah, fair.
It's quite funny because I can hear the American people in the audience trying to do a British accent.
Yes.
They do this kind of quasi half British American accent. It's very fun and nice.
Yeah.
In New York, they just go straight They go straight Brooklyn with it.
From my emptiness, my brain is tired, my stomach's sick.
The lows are when you are being violently sick in like a Texas gas station.
Was there? Yeah.
Why
so
is
in-
that not?
Yeah.
Strange.
In that photo, I had just
Oh,
been
yeah.
violently sick in a Bucky's bathroom, and I came out. Or maybe I was sick after that photo.
Is that cut off from the actual thing?
Apparently so. Another thing we didn't check in the final edit.
So this photo should have an arrow pointing at Nick going very ill, because Nick was very, very ill.
Now we don't have it, but now you know.
We got Bucky the Beaver though.
Yeah.
True.
That sucks. That's really bad.
The Yumi at 6 tour was not real until it actually happened.
Not real. Let's move on.
Yeah,
It was just something that we kind of thought, oh yeah, one day we'll get a big tour. And then it kind of came along and it's like, oh, okay, this is weird, but it'll happen, I guess. And we'd never played anything of that size, so we couldn't even picture it or imagine ourselves.
We couldn't actually picture it or imagine it.
No.
George is right there. That's
Right,
true.
what you're doing here is just repeating.
Yeah,
Just don't bother.
it's
talking
director's
about it.
commentary.
Keep it
We're
to
the
yourself.
directors and we are
situation.
It felt like we went from not being able to play a show and not.
Oh, so I want to talk about this video specifically.
Yeah.
So we recorded this video, and I think we started sending it out to like promoters, being like, "Hey, can you give us shows?"
Yeah.
And it's so
and we
bad.
applied that
Why
filter.
You didn't get it.
Yeah, it was all
We applied.
green.
I just love how we've all got crazy
Oh yeah.
crazy
That was the
fringes.
time.
Yeah.
I haven't even cut the sides of my hair yet, so I've got just really, really long curly ginger hair.
Yeah.
Is that Oscar?
I'm on the drums.
No, it's you.
It's you.
That's not me.
It
That
is
is
you.
you.
I'm moving the chat.
You're in this.
You,
Yeah, that's me.
100% you playing bass. My bass guitar, which the actual strap thing had broken, so it's tied to the top, tied to the top of the neck.
That's
so
good
funny.
hustle, kids.
Yeah, it's Ian's electric guitar, isn't it?
Yeah. So much is happening.
I'm not on here anymore.
I bought that bass off of Henry when he decided he didn't want to play.
When Henry said,
Henry says fame.
Being able to play our instruments to suddenly having to learn how to play Ali Pali and do these insane venues in front of all these people, and you just do it. You just get on and you play, and just hope you get better and better and better. I remember coming off at Ali Pali, and all of us were like, no idea what happened. That 30 minutes just went, and now we've done it. We were so happy we've done it, but I don't think any of us really remember any moment from that. So we always.
That is my favourite moment of the entire thing.
What,
George going,
It's rock and roll, baby.
Rock and
So-
roll.
it's so-
It does it again on a beat.
That's so funny.
And I've been told that we were special because we were underground, no one had heard of us, and we managed to sell out the Electric Ballroom, but no one in the industry had ever heard of us. And like that was a good thing, and we were a bit like, well, that wasn't on purpose. We did that because no one really cared, or no one said they cared.
Quite emotional, isn't it, when you really think about it?
No one said they cared.
No one said they cared. Someone said they cared?
Yeah.
Question mark?
We may seem all
Who
fun,
was it?
loving, and free, but we get emotional.
We're very emotional. I think.
Okay, crash course time. Who the hell is the music industry? Anyone who works in music? Here's some of what we've learned. In short, the music industry is a global network of record labels, press, management companies, booking and creating.
George wanted me to add a source about like how we came across this information, so I just whacked a Wikipedia thing there. I think that's the only
It's
source
just
that's
like,
valid.
otherwise you claim to be like, you have to cite your
You do.
your
You're
things,
right.
otherwise, you know.
And my
you
source
might
is
be
I
just
reckon and
spouting
see
rubbish.
Wikipedia agrees.
Add a source.
We wanted this to be more than just about us. We wanted it to kind of answer a lot of questions that we get about what it's like to work in music and what it means to operate within the music industry. So this bit was quite important to us because we wanted to make it more accessible to understand the intricacies of working in this space and how kind of difficult it can
Especially
be.
as a small artist.
Yeah, we've had to learn it too over the years, and it's very overwhelming.
I think when we were talking about in the first thing about how like we came from just kind of making stuff up as we go along, sending videos of us to promoters where we're just playing in a room with no mics and all this kind of stuff. We had to work a lot out on our own because we didn't have people helping us and guiding us, and so you learn this stuff by trials by fire, and it's if you're not already involved, it can be
I
really
didn't
hard to
even know
operate
that
around
a
it.
booking agent was a thing.
I didn't.
Until Nick one day said, "We need a booking agent." I went, "Yeah, that sounds about right."
Booking agent, promoter, manager. I didn't really.
What's the difference? All the
People,
same.
people still ask me what the difference is, and so here you go.
Agencies who all work to create and promote the product we know as music. Us, Aaron Bayshuk, Taylor Swift, and the guy
Good friends.
All of us. Yeah.
Aaron Bayshuk, Taylor Swift.
who books bands at the Oval Pub in Croydon are all technically part of this web. Some are just deeper in the well than others.
That's my favourite guy.
Is that?
Elvis.
That's
Austin Butler as Elvis.
no, it's not Elvis. That guy is definitely a A&R.
Oh,
Definitely an A&R
I see
guy.
it. I see it.
That guy is the sleaziest guy you're ever gonna know. I reckon. What's
Not
his name?
all A&R is sleazy, but
that
most
guy,
of them are.
That guy.
So A&Rs are like the reply guys of the music industry.
Oh yeah,
essentially. You know, people will like always reply to your story, like trying to slide into your DM.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
That's what A&Rs are like. But they never mean it.
What's
They
that
never-
guy's name?
Aaron and recruitment.
Aaron Recruitment.
Aaron Recruitment. With recruitment being your last name, where else are you gonna go?
So let's break down each of those jobs. A creative is someone who creates stuff. Musicians are the primary example, but photographers, videographers, and producers are also a part of this group. Booking agents are the people that book shows and tours. Managers and management companies work for the creatives to organize their business long-term and connect the prior parts of the puzzle. Press are the people who promote music, namely radio pluggers and PR representatives. And then you have record labels. A record label is a company that has capital, and they use that capital to facilitate the creation and the distribution of a musical product in return for the bulk of the profits of that product. Back in
You heard that? They said they get the bulk of the profits. Boo.
Boo. Normally it is.
Boo.
the day when it was difficult to make a record, they would hire the songwriters, the musicians, and the engineers.
Ian, I didn't know you worked in.
This is me in 2014. And
This is you
that's
cutting
me
some
currently.
days. Wow, you've been around a while.
I have.
That's how you know all this information.
Here's how I know.
Is they may even own the studio a song was recorded in,
That was
and
my
the place
favourite
vinyl
one.
That's good, that one. That's good, yeah.
records were produced. However, as time has gone on, producing music has become more accessible. You don't need a label to write and record your own music at your house.
Get rid of chat for a second.
Sorry, chat.
Look at George recording
Triangle.
Just there.
It was
Was
just
that-
down
was
there.
that
Yeah.
there?
It's just down
I was
there.
surrounded.
So
It was a
funny.
really hot day, and I was surrounded by lots of duvets and stuff, so that you wouldn't get like the sound reflections off your lovely but very
Reflective
not great
surfaces.
acoustically
Yeah.
reflective walls and floor.
What were you recording Triangle for?
A song?
It would have been Let's Sleep on.
Because I think we had triangle in every song.
Oh yeah, we made a point.
Yeah.
Intentionally trying to
Yeah,
make sure there's triangle in every song.
And that is how you should write music, people.
I was recently thinking about
funny.
Let's Sleep on it and
Oh
how
my
like
God.
we were just really just doing stupid stuff like having a round in a song and
Well,
just
and then for like, the next album, we did
Tambourine
every
on
BPM
everything.
had to end in 1.
Oh, so we could.
So it had to be 121 BPM.
That's
or
so
that's
good.
141.
so funny.
I think is it the 411?
It's 141.
It's 141 and it's 4 minutes 11 or something.
Yeah.
Deeply
We
unserious
don't
band.
We just do stuff.
That's how you write songs.
Post it online and have it seen by the world. So what's the point of a label anymore? First,
Ian, you're
Now
looking good there.
remember this person. They're gonna come back.
upfront costs. Whether they are people working with Taylor Swift or they're your mates, everyone deserves to get paid for their work. A record label will cover the majority of expenses invoked in recording and styling a record up front. Labels call the upfront costs they pay artists an advance. After the album is out, any money made goes back to the label until the advance is paid back. Once that's done, the label start taking a percentage of continued profit. As an example, when we signed to Counterintuitive, our split was 50-50, label and artist for 15 years. I.e., for every £1 those records make, CI get 50p and we get 50p. After those 50
To trash Jake is very fair.
Reasonable.
Yeah, so
Jake is
that's
very reasonable.
very
That's
reasonable.
You know.
Jake is
Yeah.
the I don't want to say the only, but the only one we've come across record label guy that's been fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's great about
He's a good
that's
egg.
what's great about Jake is Jake really understands that he's just there to facilitate the growth of artists he likes and appreciates.
He's a good egg.
15 years are up, we will own 100% of the records we release with Counterintuitive. For a massive artist on a major label,
Phineas and Ferb are the biggest artists that I could think of.
That's
at the
Phineas and
time.
Ferb.
Yeah.
these advances can be worth millions of pounds. Not for us, but for some people. And that split can be as
Phineas gets 50, Ferb gets 50.
Oh yeah.
Well, actually, 50 of what you're going to see in a
Jake
sec.
gets 50.
extreme as 85-15 in the label's
Ferb.
favour.
Yeah.
I.e. for every
Oh.
£1, the artist makes
Pause
50.
very quickly. So I don't know if you guys know, but in the UK we don't have coins for 85p and 15p.
What?
Funny
So
that.
that's what I reckon
made
they'd
them up.
look
No,
like.
I thought this was.
This is what I'd.
Is this not real?
So no, they've started minting them now.
Oh.
After this video, that's how important we are.
Oh. I see. Let's keep going.
15p and the label makes 85p, with the label owning that much of their music forever. Wow, that's such.
See, this guy's got.
He's back.
This guy's asking the big
He's
questions.
asking big with his feet for hands.
Someone has just said Remy the Ratatouille is actually a bigger artist than Phineas and Ferb, and I want to point out that Remy the Ratatouille has 100% of the royalties to all of his work.
Yeah, he's
It's
not
a
signed to
very
a
good
major. He did it on his own.
A bad deal. Why would you take that? Often the upfront costs of recording music will prohibit the artist from doing such without an advance. But also labels are big names in the industry. They will have sway with TV, radio and even streaming platforms. They can provide PR teams and music video teams. They open doors. If you argue
They open doors. They provide teams and open doors.
And open doors.
We
That's
can't
nice
open
of them.
doors.
No,
No,
we're
I've-
trapped in this room now.
We've
the
been
door's
here for
closed.
months.
We can't get the wind
We've been
closed. The wind closed the door,
calling-
and then we
calling so many label
Please,
executives.
If anyone
Yeah.
knows, if anyone knows the label, then please help us out of this room. I have to go climb out the window.
your case right, not only do you get paid for your art, but after getting those rights back, you've all secured a pension. If they don't see money in you, they may offer you just enough to make the record, but not enough for you to see any meaningful income yourself.
They looked it up.
We didn't put that in here, but sometimes you don't get your rights back.
Yeah.
The label we were offered, this is a fun little.
I did
night.
actually mention in perpetuity.
Was it mentioned
There,
who?
you have there was an hourglass with a plug in it. to stop it. But yes, agreed.
What we were offered was they would have our music in perpetuity. So
Forever.
it's like in all the known universe, like the contracts are crazy. It's like just like
just
anywhere,
in case, like,
just in
other
case
civilization
yeah.
moves to Mars.
Or
They
just
own
in
it
case
in Mars
we
as well.
discover another planet, they also own it and it forever.
We would never be able to do what we want without coordination.
And we were going.
Yeah.
I think that when we were having negotiations and stuff, you like go there's lawyers and whatever, and they all get involved. And they went back and we were like, one of the changes we tried to make was, hey, could we like perhaps we could get it back at some point in our lives? And I'm pretty sure they said no.
They were like, no.
Massive boo.
Yeah,
Massive.
big chat
boo.
moment. Agreed.
Boo in the chat.
And they may own your music forever. It's hard out here.
After the Electric Ballroom show, we're approached by two separate record labels. One is a smaller record label, one's a very big record label that's fronted by a management team that gives you, quote unquote, the experience of having a big label's support, but with a small label's community.
Like, it's super exciting to get approached by a label. I mean, we were signed to Counterintuitive, and we love Counterintuitive. We love Jake. He is one of the sweetest
That's a real
people
photo.
we've had the pleasure of meeting.
So realised when we were doing this, we've never taken a photo with Jay.
We must have
which
taken
is
a photo
so
with Jay.
sad.
We've seen him. We've hung out with him and his cat so much.
That picture of Ian.
Yeah.
For people in the UK, do you remember a children's presenter called Ian Sterling?
Well, the one from.
Ian Sterling's still going. He does Love Island.
Now he's Ian looks like Ian Sterling.
Wow.
Every time I see it, I think, is that Ian Sterling? Oh, no, it's not.
I just completely disagree, but correct spelling of the name Ian, so
yeah.
I'll give them that.
Yeah, we'll carry on.
It's just different.
But we were aware that we had the opportunity to find someone who can maybe help us more in the UK, who was more tapped into the world we wanted to be in personally. And when we first started getting some like label recognition and some label attention, that was crazy. It felt like, okay, tomorrow I'm gonna wake up and we're going to be a major label band and we're going to be able to do whatever we want artistically because they're going to believe in us.
If like I wanted to...
Someone asked name drop the labels, which we're not going to because we still know people involved in both labels who we
don't
care about very deeply.
And we don't want to get sued.
They have big lawyers that are quite scary.
But it's
so we don't go there.
It's important to stress that a lot of people at record labels still love music and care about music and cared about us and you know care about their artists. But when you are at a stage where you're negotiating and you're trying to get the best deal for your business, you generally aren't talking to the people who care about your art.
It's a corporate entity, and so there's a lot of people there, right?
Yeah, and they tell you that they want to have a meeting with you, and then the day before when you're like, oh, just checking in that you're ready, like, oh, actually, I'm on holiday, but they don't actually tell you they're on holiday. They get their PA to tell you they're on holiday and you prepared the whole place, you've hoovered, you've cleaned, and they just don't turn up, and you're a bit like, oh, this is me, and that's after like,
but this is 8
a
months
good
of waiting.
8 months of waiting,
and this is what's crazy is like the other people working with this guy were all like, I don't know what's happening either. We're so sorry. We really want you on this project. I don't know if we can work with this guy anymore.
Yeah, the label themselves weren't communicating with each other.
And it was clear that this one guy who had control of the budgets was just like, I don't care.
And also
control the budgets and the contract.
Since this has happened, I have not seen anything from that entity that we were going to assign to. I think the lack of communication between what was happening, I haven't seen a single thing from it, so I don't actually know whether it.
I think it just fell apart. And this is the thing with the music industry: is it's also
we hoovered.
It's also fragile, and it's also full of egos and big money people that it's just impossible to function in a way that is we can work. You know.
That I point out, but we
bloody hoovered.
We should have sent them a cleaning bill.
We should have, charge our time at minimum wage. Should have
signed that immediately as soon as we heard it. I was like, yes, let's make this work.
London living wage. I mean, we should.
We'd still be earning more than we currently.
London.
Let's do it. You know, you have this like energy where you just want it to happen.
And we saw how little respect that we'd had from the industry previously, and we felt like, oh, now this is the moment where they've realised what they're missing.
How good we are at hoovering. Is what they're missing.
And the offers come through, and they're much more restrictive, much less supportive than we thought they were going to be.
And by the end of it, this amazing opportunity felt a bit more like a burden.
So true.
In terms of like restrictive, it was restrictive in a way. It was like we could do one album with them, and then we had to stay for another 3 albums if they wanted to.
And so if they didn't,
essentially we would
see you later.
We would do album number 1, and then they'd be like, yeah, that was alright, we'll do album 2 with you now. And we had to say yes.
There was also there was terms to it where they had to offer us a certain amount of money. There was a range. So if that album did really well,
and suddenly we were like Taylor Swift level of fame.
Guarantee the next one without paying us like very much at all, basically.
And there would be a maximum,
and we'd be locked in, and we're in a contract.
Well, this is what happened with a lot of artists. Like this happened with Frank Ocean. This happened with other people. Where a lot of people they'll get locked, they'll become very, very big, and then they'll be locked into labels that don't work for them. And I think at this point we were quite lucky that we'd been doing what we've been doing on our own for a decent amount of time, that we've been kind of like screwed over in the industry previously, and we realized that we can't just kind of see flashing lights and immediately go for it, because I think that if this was offered to us even like a year prior, we would be much more vulnerable to say yes to things that weren't going to be good for us.
It's very predatory toward younger musicians because you wouldn't necessarily have the kind of experience you need to navigate it.
And I think I touched on it a little bit in those interviews where like you you've heard all those stories about like, oh, that band that did the wrong thing, and then look what happened, and it's like it's always in the back of your mind. You're kind of terrified of it.
Let's carry on.
It wasn't exciting. It wasn't helping us in create this amazing next project.
It doesn't feel representative of the work we've put in so far. It doesn't feel representative of what we can do. That was disappointing. I think the first blow was like, oh, okay, not everything always works out.
I guess there's always that fear of making a wrong decision, and that's a massive pressure when you're trying to enjoy all these things.
It felt like signing to a major label would be an acceptance of, oh, this is real, we're a real band now. There was so long where we were just sat waiting for meetings, which didn't happen, and waiting for phone calls when that happened. And it was tough because a year and a half ago, we made all our own decisions and we did everything ourselves. And if we wanted to release music, we recorded it and we released it. And suddenly we...
I want to say big up to Bears and Trees for doing that.
Big up to Bears in Trees. I'm going to say, in that time, we also worked with Counterintuitive and Jake Overfinger. But 9 times out of 10, we'd be like, yeah, we want to release an album this time. And Jake would go, cool, let's make it happen.
Yeah.
And so,
it was still us making the decisions, not waiting on other people, which is kind of where we're trying to position ourselves again now.
And Jake would bluntly go, how much do you need? Which is amazing.
We were kind of being held back by someone who clearly didn't believe in the project, and why did they have to? I guess what we learned about that when you're signing with one of the biggest record labels in the UK is that there are so many people involved in that decision making, and all it needs is one person with some control to not support the project or understanding the project, and they can drag it out for months while you're sat on hooks.
February 2023, we were doing this You Me at 6 tour. We're playing Alexandra Palace, it's amazing, we're just presenting our music to so many people, and we wanted to have a record to come out after that, so that people saw us and went wow, and then they got lost in this world that we could provide them. And that just couldn't happen because we just kept being strung along by someone who really didn't care.
I don't know if our fans felt the same kind of stagnation we did, but to me it became palpable in our community very quickly. That's what I rely on as my barometer, and like what gives me the reason to do this and be here.
If we commit to this, there's a chance that this will all go perfectly and everything will work out, and we can keep doing this for at least another 5-10 years. There's always that worry in the back of your mind. You don't want to make that wrong decision.
That is, I think you raised a good point there where it's like, signing to a major label, okay, you might give up quite a few of like the rights to the music and you give up a bunch of other stuff, but being signed for 4 years to an album, like for 4 albums, does guarantee that you have to be a band for 4 albums.
You have a career,
and they pay for it to do it. So if you want that that security, like, you know, to be a band, it would guarantee, if we signed to that label, it, even for the small amount they offered us in the end, we would have guaranteed that we would have kind of been a band for 4 albums, provided they wanted them. And so there is that security. Whereas now, you know, as we're kind of independent, there is that risk of we need to get funding for the next project. And if we don't get funding for the next project, then there is no next project.
Yeah.
So there is a risk, but I suppose the payoff is that we...
That's what I mean. When you're an entity with capital behind you, they can do what they want. You can do much more.
Crazy.
You are the only person who has the stakes in your project, which you do. No one can or will ever be able to care about your project as much as you do.
I'd kind of given up on the idea of the label, but what was potentially the option, which we never were actually offered, was so good that the imagined future that had was so enticing that you couldn't just turn it down. Oh,
it felt a bit like waiting for a bus when we were doing the waiting. Do you remember? We were like, when you wait for a bus for like half an hour and you're like, oh well, I can't leave now because I've already been here for half an hour. When you waited for a record label for like 9 months, you're like, well, I nearly had a baby.
Sunk cost.
And this is the thing, like, there's talks about, oh well, we reckon we can push them. Oh, they'll probably do this. They'll probably do this, because everyone's just kind of guessing what people are gonna do, and it's so strange at this moment in history with record labels, because like, the way that we constantly have data coming in means that they change their opinions so rapidly and so quickly that, and you never can really predict what anyone's going to commit to, and so they never really commit to as much as they always kind of suggest they will.
my goodness, now we have to create something to present to a record label so that they go, oh yeah, let's sell this. You're asking yourself, why am I making anything? And when you're asking yourself, why am I making anything, how can you make anything?
Was there a breakthrough moment?
When we said no, like that was it. We
voiced Jamie there.
Yeah, manager Jamie.
Voiced manager Jamie, the artiste behind the Diana tour poster, and also who asked us all these questions.
Yeah, in regards to like writing, like we really struggled writing this. I remember there was a moment we were at the studio in that room there, and we wrote out a bunch of post-it notes about what kind of things we wanted to try and things we wanted. And it was like, we want to try and do more electronic stuff, but we also want to sound like a band in a room. We want to say a story, but we don't want it to feel too much concept. And it was like we just didn't know what we were just kind of pulling stuff out of the air to say something. We just weren't sure what we were even gonna create, because it's so weird waiting for someone to green light making something. You kind of not living, and so you don't know what to.
We had some terrible writing experiences.
Yeah.
Weren't going to do it. I think the relief of that was crazy, to be like, okay, fine, let's take control. And I think it did spur us on to go like, let's do this. Let's now make the best album we can possibly make.
So let's take this back and kind of do it how we want to do it. No one else knows what we want to do as much as we know.
Fun fact about the backing music in this, it's all AI generated. It's all yeah. I was like, oh, we're going to put in the background. We ain't got any music. All our music has words, and so it's going to get in the way. So I just searched into AI.
Is that Evergreen? So true.
Yeah, I think that was Evergreen.
Great song.
So we said no. We decided that putting our creativity first was more important. If they didn't care enough to make us a priority, that was a good sign.
You actually see that the middle of our glasses appears and disappears.
We weren't going to.
Oh yeah, there is. We look angry.
We were angry.
We were really angry.
They're going 1 minute, and we're like, no.
Yeah, we look angry.
Find that security in the long term. After talking amongst ourselves and other bands we'd met along the way, we decided.
Lots of other bands were very, very nice. Namely, Unit 6 were very sweet about labels and other ways to do it.
Yeah.
Having been through the system themselves.
Yeah.
Been through major labels.
Were very pro helping us out.
So were the main. We shared a dressing room.
Oh yeah, and the main.
Dave
had some
they were like
issues.
Labels suck. Agree with labels.
Yeah.
To make it work completely independently and be the sole owners of our music. But it wasn't clear skies yet. After spending a year trying to secure a record deal, trying to find security in our business, and not being certain about the future of our project, we still weren't stable. Far from it. After feeling stagnant and strung along, the next thing had to be the most important record yet. It had to be
Poor guy.
Yeah.
As heavy that is.
Something that proves the label executives wrong. It had to mean something. But we didn't know what we wanted to say anymore. What was our voice? What was there to write about?
I can't remember how many songs we started writing and scrapped.
What if I pushed you? Could you remember if I pushed you? How many songs did we start and scrap?
There are at least 6.
And this is like you three went and wrote like 3, and then we went to like a rehearsal space.
Yeah.
And we played them together for the first time, and you were like, "So what do you think?" I was like, "Guys, I don't mean to be rude, but none of these are good." And then so we wrote a couple more, and then we took them over. We listened and went, "Wow, guys, these aren't good."
Because they weren't going, we've never had issues writing like we did to get to this album.
To get back into the flow of kind of us being us and doing what we do, which is writing songs, playing music together. It took us a very long time to know how to write songs again.
Like me and Ian were talking about, what do we have to write about? What do we care about saying anymore? We said what we wanted to say with And Everybody Else on My Back. We said what we wanted to say with the next EP, Every Moonbeam, Every Fever Dream.
Great EP.
From then it's like, do we have anything to say anymore? Like, what are we trying to talk about?
Yeah.
Was literally just trying to write songs that were 10-step way of feeling more.
So this is like something that I was really struggling with, because ultimately we've always said that we like making songs that articulates pain. We never wanted to sound like we're just like wallowing in sadness. We always want to have like it feel constructive or about hope or about kind of the complexities of emotions. But then when you go too far with that, there's also, you end up losing any kind of meaning behind it. And I think that's where I was getting to. I was getting to a point where I was just like trying to avoid having any pain in it, and then it wasn't real, which was weird. Weird when you're like, oh, the one thing I do, I write lyrics. That's the main thing I do, and I can't do that. Oh, I guess I don't have an identity anymore. Brilliant.
Content in your life, and it didn't feel real, or like I was actually talking about my lived experience. I was talking about an imagined way of processing imagined pain. I shouldn't be articulating theory or psychological textbooks or whatever. I should be talking about the kind of confusion I feel right now as a human being.
Yeah, for this album we went away.
Now it starts getting after you.
I love the rest of the documentary from like here to the end. You did a great job with the edit, and by the end it's like,
go Bears and Trees.
I can't even remember what part of the world we went to now.
Airbnb in Sussex and wrote, and I think that was what we needed. We needed the moment, just the four of us, no other distractions, not being somewhere we've been before. We suddenly were like, okay, this is how we do it. This is what it felt like back when we were writing stuff before. We're finally getting stuff, and it's actually working.
It was still in his pajamas.
I was very sleepy.
Cozy as
You
hell.
do
Look at that. That's a sleepy guy.
You look
I
EP.
remember we had the heating on like full whack because it was the middle of winter. And it was so cozy.
It was so nice.
This must have been like straight as soon as we woke up.
Probably.
We woke up and then immediately started.
That's great.
We get up and like have a coffee or whatever, and something.
Yeah.
Like a converted barn house, and it was like super stripped down, super basic, and we just, I don't know, something just clicked. As someone who had struggled to write lyrics and pen anything that I cared about.
Fluffy Kitty.
This cat was roaming around all the time.
This I think is Hartley, but this place clearly had two ragdoll cats which looked exactly the same.
Yeah.
Because one came in on like I don't think the first day there was no cat. The second day we were there, this cat comes in. We were like, it jumps onto the work surface in the kitchen, just like does not give a shit, just wandering around all over the place. And then on the last day, I think we finally checked the collar on it, and it's like, this is a different cat. And then two cats which look the same.
Well, I remember being like, I'm pretty sure this is a different cat. And you're like, no, it's the same cat. So I was like, I don't think it's the same cat. But I was convinced. One looked so similar.
This I think is Hartley. I can't remember the name of the other cat.
The other one, they very different personalities. One was like, don't touch me.
Yeah.
Up until that moment, I spent like an evening while those guys were chilling out. I was like super frustrated because I hadn't written anything I was proud of. I came down and I showed him Hot Chocolate, and I showed him We Don't Speak Anymore, which are now 2 singles from the album. And that felt really good because I was like, oh, like I do have stuff I want to talk about. I have stuff that matters to me still. I have moments I want to write about, and I have ways I want to write about them, and things I want to say. And these guys get it, and they know how to make it better. It's like we'd forgotten how to bring the best out of each other until that moment. And all of a sudden we were doing it again like we had done for the last album, and it felt pretty good.
Okay, let's just stop trying to think of a theme, stop trying to think of a concrete idea that we're basing all of this on. Let's just go back to basics. We went away, write about your current human lived experience. And so that's what we did. And
I love the supermarket trips we do on. One of my favourite bits on writing weekends.
They're fun.
I love our supermarket trips. We go in, we make a meal plan, we write our list, we go to the supermarket, and we get in and we get to the first aisle and we're like, right, Ian, we need salsa and chips. Nick, off to the vegetable aisle. And we all go off and do it, and we come back and we all go off a little
bit. We all know what we need. We're locked in.
Brilliant. And then we get to the snack aisle and we all what we're going to get, all bourbons, or Maryland cookies maybe.
What we always get. Yeah.
Suddenly everything started just slotting together. The lyrics then led to music, and music then led to lyrics. And
we came back after the writing weekend and worked on the songs we'd written in like a full band space.
It felt like we'd all kind of let go of a lot of tension that we were holding for a very long time. Not just, about life, but about the band and about kind of each other. When you go through what we were talking about before about the label being dragged on and discontent within what we want and what we should do and what next steps should be when everything's so unclear, at least there's tension. It felt like this tension just suddenly melted away. And we felt like we were just 4 friends in a room making music about a lived experience again.
The editing there is just
it's fantastic.
Okay.
It was really fun, going back and finding, like, loads of that is just downloaded off our YouTube, and just like going back and taking bits of music videos. It's crazy we've gone from...
We're making these animations the same, like going back and going through photos, it was just so heartwarming. And I think that, like, especially when you're making something about reconnecting with bears and trees,
it's very sweet.
Yeah, and you put it over Tai Chi, and it's like
so emotional.
Yeah. So the record is written, but how do we make it? We wanted this to be the greatest thing we've ever made, but we didn't have the funding to make it happen. That's when Sandbag stepped in. Sandbag are a merchandise company. They're like Callum's Bedroom, but more professional. They looked at our merch and...
That's tough, actually, as well, because I'm pretty
bloody professional.
Pretty bloody pro.
what we were doing and said they'd help pay for the record. They gave us an advance and we can pay it back from our old merch sales. The difference between this and the record label is we would own 100% of our music. We took that deal and we spent it on going away to a recording studio called Vader. This is a residential studio where we were able to live and breathe our record for 2 weeks straight. And we worked with our self-described creative engineer, George Perks, or GP to avoid confusion with George Berry. It was starting to happen. We were making the record.
Legendary behaviour from GP.
He's a good egg.
Yeah, one of the best.
I listen back to the demos now, and the song is there, right? Like the core is there, but they sound.
We had a great game. we were very bored. We had a tape measure, and you had to pull the tape measure out as far as you could without it then like dropping. And
yeah, we got cabin fever. 100%. We were so insane, and just like this is a lot of the best recording was happening at like 11:30 p.m.
Oh yeah,
and we were waking up at 8 a.m. again to like do more stuff. And like
the start of it was a 2-week experience. GP was like, yeah guys, I mean I'll try and keep it fairly gentle. You know, we wake up around 9 in the morning and we work from like 10 till 10. And we were like 10 till 10, okay. Yeah. And then because we were just into it. It gets to like 1 in the morning and you're like, oh, we should probably go to bed now.
And you're still waking up to start at 10.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's crazy how involved you get.
So trashy compared to how the songs sound now. And I listen to them and I'm like, how could anybody like see anything in these? Like I guess we kind of got what we wanted to sound like. But GP heard them and he got them instantly, and he was like connecting to the melodies, he was connecting to the lyrics, he was suggesting ideas, suggesting changes that we hadn't thought of.
With our very old stuff, I would record it and mix it, and I would kind of see it from start to end. And there was something exciting about being able to hand it over to someone else to do more than I was capable.
When we were with GP, it felt like he got it immediately. I love this bit, I noticed this, and just made those little things and just said little comments, little things that we'd probably all been thinking but hadn't quite found the words to say them. GP felt like a fifth member. He needed to produce the album.
George Perks just was able to, he would just say things and be like, oh yeah, that's it. And he would say, I'd like to change this bit.
Me and GP had this one argument, and it's about a specific church bell sound.
Oh my gosh.
And it went on for days. It was like, I was like, no church bell. I was like, please, that church bell's so good.
Was that in confetti?
Yeah, I think it is in there now. I think we did. It's subtly in there because he's always right. This is GP. He's always right.
Yeah, you always got to trust the doctor.
Like, whoa. He just kind of knew, and there was always this little bit of resistance because it's like, no, you can't, you're not the person to change this music, this is mine. But then like, it wasn't like, we have to do this. It was like, I think I would like this moment here, I'd like this moment here, that you just couldn't, you couldn't not at least try it.
To give that creative control away actually didn't feel so difficult, I think, because we trusted GP so much, because we knew that he understood the concept and he understood the album and he understood the band and the music, that it was so...
They were from Tesco, Star Wars pajamas, because I realised that I actually only bought one pair of trousers to the studio for 2 weeks. I think maybe I bought like a pair of joggers and like skinny jeans. I was like, I don't want to wear skinny jeans. So I went to Tesco and bought this. I didn't have pockets though. That's the only problem.
Refreshing to give that creative control away because it meant we didn't have to think about it.
When your
performance of Greece, isn't it?
Yeah,
that is
honestly,
a specimen right there.
Absolutely.
Or at Vader, you live and breathe it for 2 weeks, which drives you insane. It's an interesting experience. It was tough in different ways that we never thought we'd struggle with, but it was just massively inspiring to just constantly be surrounded by this music and constantly living and breathing it. In the space of a year, we went from not being sure about whether the band was going to last another 6 months to creating what we believe is the greatest thing any of us have ever made. And whilst there has been, still is, and will be struggle, we are so proud of this record, and we have one of the most incredible communities who can't wait to hear it. No matter how well the album does commercially, no matter if the record labels agree that this album worked, it is already successful. We are so grateful for the ride we've been gifted and our community who have supported us the whole way through.
I want people to hear it and feel a sense of joy at the absurdity of existence, to feel the release of tension that we felt when we were creating it.
Oh, we did it. We actually did it. These are a reflection of not just what we did in those 2 weeks, but the whole 2 years basically leading up have been reflected in this music, and that felt pretty good.
I want people to hear it and not go, wow, this is a great Bears and Trees album. I want people to hear it and go, wow, this is a great album. But I also want people to say this is the most authentically Bears and Trees album that I've ever heard.
I just hope this album is heard by the people who want to hear it and they like it.
I want people to hear it and feel like it's okay to not know what's going on in their lives, because no one does.
And it felt like one entire project that we'd put our entire selves into.
Big up Chaz. Big up Jamie. Big up Callum. Big up Ian.
Big up Nick.
Big up George.
Now the most important part of the video.
Hold on.
Yeah.
You can teach a man to fish, but you can't teach a fish to man. That's all for tonight, folks.
That's all for tonight, folks.
I think that is the whole documentary.
Yeah.
Thank you everyone for being here and watching us stream it. If you haven't watched it already, go watch it in full. It's better when you don't have us talking random nonsense.
And that's part one.
Thank you for all of our subscribers on Twitch and YouTube. And thank you all for supporting us. We couldn't be here and making stuff like this without you. As you have seen, us doing it ourselves just means that we're doing it with the support of our community. So thank you to you for being here supporting us, and thank you to our Patreons who have allowed us to continue to make stuff, and yeah,
hell yeah,
we really appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks so much, team.
We'll be back next week.
Part 2 coming
At
soon.
some point. Part 2 coming soon.
Well, at some point.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's plenty more.
Big up, team. Bye all.
Bye.
Bye everyone.